Okay, I'm just setting up the live stream. I won't be long. Okay, I think we're good to go. So, anybody who saw the video yesterday will have seen several things that didn't quite go as planned. So, yeah, it was a bit of an eventful one yesterday. I was looking through an old written procedure that I'd done for the A300, and it's obviously been updated in the meantime, so I've brought the procedure in line with the aircraft and improved it here and there, put much more instruction in it, much more notes. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, I generally prepare procedures for all of the airplanes, or the more complicated airplanes in the simulator, for my own use, and then I sell them on to anybody else for a nominal fee. I used to give them away, but my other half said, given all the hours you put into these, why don't you actually just charge, the price of a cup of tea or coffee for them? And so that's what I do. And if you want to see one of them, here's a good example. So this is that A300 one. And there's a couple of things to point out about the A300. So there's a couple, there's a bits at the start about controlling the camera in the simulator, how to do custom views, because it's really useful with this airplane. Some suggested views to set up, which the controls, or sorry, the procedure relates to the custom views. But here's a good one. Note, the A300 has a 3-way gear lever. If your physical controls only have a single throw, consider creating a controller profile and disconnect the gear lever. So in other words, to force yourself to use it within the cockpit. Because it won't work with any kind of 2-way throw gear levers, which is what I discovered yesterday when I crashed it into the floor when I presumed the gear was down, and it wasn't, and I hadn't checked it. So it was on me for not checking it, but that would have avoided it entirely. Anyway, so as you can see, the procedures go on for some time now, and I've covered both sim brief and manual flight planning in here. So it goes into quite some detail with, there you go, look, there's the manual steps to go through to program the MCDU. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on that for too long. What we are going to do is go and head off towards sim brief and put our flight plan in. So we're going to go to the dispatch system. So we're going to do all of this from scratch, so you see the whole story. And we're also going to remember to use SayIntentions tonight to do an IFR controlled flight all the way. So we need to know the code letters of the airports we're flying from and to. We are at Mariscal Sucre International, SEQM. So we'll put our virtual airline number in. We're going to be 073. It doesn't make any difference. It's just so it aligns with what ATC is going to call us. So SEQM to SKBO, which is Eldorado in Colombia. SKBO. We are in the A300-600, which is the passenger variant, and we've got an interesting looking star there, haven't we? So we're going to leave everything as it gives us. It's quite a straightforward flight plan by the look of it. It's doing a couple of different airways along the way. So we'll go and generate the flight. So that's that done. So you can see actually we've got a flight level change in the middle of the flight. We're starting out at 32,000 feet, and then we're climbing to 33,000 feet in the middle of the flight. That's an interesting one. Okay, anyway. So we may get instructions from ATC about that along the way. Let's go and check SayIntentions before we go any further. So we're just going to make sure that our identity in here agrees. So A300, virtual is the call sign, 073. So they're going to call us virtual 073. That's good enough for us. Okay, so the thing we'll have to do to remember that I forgot yesterday is we have to call clearance. As soon as we've got the radio on, we'll call clearance and get our IFR flight plan. So yeah, just having a look at the route then. So we've got our SimBrief plan now. So we'll load this into both Little Nav Map and Navigraph for those that have got either of them. So if we go to the File menu in Little Nav Map, we can open the flight plan from SimBrief, download it. So there's the one we've just generated. And we can create the flight plan, and don't save the changes, and there's that really interesting looking star. It's a good one. It's a DME arc in reality. It'd probably look a lot more sensible in Navigraph. So if we unload what we were doing before, import from SimBrief, and it's this one. And if we go and have a look, we've got the plans here. Okay, so no, it doesn't. Maybe it hasn't got the charts for it. So if we go and show the approaches, what did the flight plan say in SimBrief? GIR 4W into runway 32 right. So runway 32 right. It's an RNAV approach, that's interesting to start with. And there's 3 of them. So once we get to the end of the star, we're going to loop around and come in. So which one did it have in Little Nav Map? Is it taking it that far? So there's the end of the star, and then it's just got the approach, and it hasn't got anything. So runway 32 right, +3 approach, start to final. Let's go and have a look at it on the map. Let's turn off the centering, otherwise it will keep scrolling away from us. So yeah, this hasn't got it penciled in, look, it's just going straight in. So we can see it in Little Nav Map as well, we can see them superimposed. So if we go and right click and show the arrivals, and we've got 32 right, isn't it, we're needing to aim for. So let's see what they look like. This one would bring us from Avmes over to B0412. I mean, we may well get instruction on final anyway, but we're just going to program it in so we've got something. So if we choose that one, so that was the W, or whiskey, approach. So let's go and have a look. That was the whiskey one. So if we add that to the route, and there it is, look. So what I was wondering about is if there's a chart of the GIR4W. We want the, there's the stars. For W. That's not the same one, is it? Well, it doesn't look like they've got a chart for it. That's slightly annoying, but oh well. They're going the other way, aren't they? That's more like it. It's like, oh yeah, there it is. GIR4E, 4W. Yeah, so 4W is in here. We just have to look really closely at it to see it. So 4W, Turto. Where's GIR then? Why is it saying? Okay, it's this lot, look. GIR4W, so it's this route we'll come in on. So we're going to pin this chart. I don't know why Navigraph hasn't pinned it for us. So we'll be coming in along here. If we were to superimpose that onto the flight plan, you'll see it. Yeah, so it lines up over the paper. It's one of the nice tricks that Navigraph can do. But look at all these constraints. That's going to be an interesting one to fly in, isn't it? Especially with the A300, which isn't quite so automatic as some of the other aeroplanes. So we're holding 17,000 feet. It's a high runway, by the way. We're at about 8,000 feet, I think the runway is. Let's have a look. Has it got the elevation? That's just the approach chart, isn't it? Nearly 8,500 feet for 32 right. It's a high airport up in the hills. So if we go and have a look at the actual chart itself, can we get an approach chart, a better one than, I guess, the RNAV's the only one we're going to get, isn't it? Because of it being runway 32. Yeah. Okay. So let's go and get the aeroplane sorted out, shall we? So inside the aeroplane, we're going to walk back outside and out. This isn't an Asobo one, is it? This is an Inibuids aircraft from the Inibuids store, so you can't actually interact with the covers. You have to do it inside the aeroplane. So we don't need to worry about doing that. Cool. I think we've got everything else in hand. We just need to get some power up and then get the clearance sorted with SayIntentions, with the air traffic services. So overhead, on the ground first. Let's go into my flight and go and import it from SimBrief. So there's the details of our flight. And we'll go to ground equipment. We're going to remove the covers. We want the GPU. So then Alt and 1 will take us overhead. We're going to go and turn the batteries on. We're going to turn the external power on. We're going to turn the APU master switch to, I didn't mean to do that. Turn the APU master switch to on and then start the APU. If you want to, while you're waiting for the APU to come up, you can see the information over on the screen. It automatically comes on when the APU is opening. So we'll leave that there for a few moments. You'll see it speed up and ignite and hot air start coming out the back. In case, I think I've described this 1,000 times. You can see the heat pouring out of the vent there. The APU is a small jet engine in the back. There you go, it's coming up, look. So, we're going to go overhead again. We're going to go and put the inertial reference systems to nav, and you'll wait for the lights to change to align mode on all three. And then we go heading status, doesn't matter which system we use, and it will show hyphens at the moment until we've done some more work down in cockpit. So Alt and 4. We need to put in, it's saying align IRS. You can't do it until you put from and to in for some reason. So we have to put in that we're going from SEQM to SKBO. So hang on, clear the messages first. SEQM to SKBO. SKBO. And drop that in from and to, and then you get a line IRS shows up. So you come in here and it goes away, and then if you look overhead now, it's further over here, wasn't it? So I've got this on instant alignment, so we should have, we've got an attitude indicator immediately. So I changed that yesterday in the tablet. If anybody was watching, went and set it to instant align. So back down in the MCDU, do we need to do anything else in here for the moment? Okay, let's go back over to the tablet. And we're going to go, we've done my flight. We're going to go into the weight and balance app, and we're going to go and fetch the data from SimBrief for passengers and fuel and apply that to the aircraft. Then we're going to go and press the home key, and then we're going to go to the takeoff calculator. We're going to sync the weather conditions, and then we're going to calculate the V-speeds and so on. So, oh look, no trim. Interesting. Okay, so we can either then go and program the flight plan manually. So if we go Alt 4 to come down to the MCDU, so we can either go and program all this in manually, or we can go and press menu and ACARS and request SimBrief. And it's now pulled the flight plan in from SimBrief. So we'll clear the messages away. You will also notice in here in ACARS we can request the winds as well, which we'll go do. So it will fill all the data up on winds aloft for us. So if we go and look in the flight plan page now, it's got all of the major routing, but it won't have any of the departure information, for example. So I'm just going to scroll down my own checklist to make sure I don't miss anything. So we've got the routing. So then on the flight plan page, we select the departure airports and choose our SID. So if we go and check the SimBrief flight plan, we are doing the ARN03A out of runway 36. So that's that done. And then insert it into the flight plan. So I'm going to scroll down to the other end of the flight plan. That's where SKBO is where we're flying to. And we can choose the start. And we can look at the flight plan in SimBrief. We're doing the GIR4W into runway 32 right. So it was the whiskey approach, wasn't it? RNAV W32 right. And GIR4W. And there it is. So that's got both. Has it got a transition? I don't think it does. It would be noted here. Let's go and just have a quick look at Navigraph and see how it has described it. It's saying AMVES in Navigraph. So what does that actually relate to? The waypoints it connects at. So let's go and double check that against. Yeah, so it will take it all the way out. So that's the beginning of the approach, but there's a transition that connects the last little bit up. So we'll go and choose AMVES. So we've got transition of AMVES, and then we insert that into the flight plan. And we're getting some data, but not everything yet. So we've done the basic routing. Let's go and spin through, see if there's any discontinuities. There shouldn't really be. There's a hold, but that's after we've landed. That's in case you have a missed approach. It puts you into a hold automatically. Okay, so if you press flight plan, it will always take you up to the top of the flight plan page. Takeoff data, so takeoff and approach. So we can go and get those numbers from the tablet. So V1 154 159. So 154 for V1, 159 for VR. Oh, something I didn't do. I just want to check this. I'm going to go next page in it. Yeah, it hasn't done the fuel. I need to correct that in the printed document. It hasn't got this bit in it. So having got the numbers, we can go populate them. The center of gravity won't come automatically, so we have to go and get it from... We want the zero fuel weight center of gravity though, which is in weight and balance. I think Mach zero fuel weight, 28.53. So 28.5. Okay. So we were doing the takeoff data, weren't we? So that's all in. The approach data we don't have to do just yet. That's all fine anyway. Okay, so the other thing that came up the other day is the trim, which is in the takeoff performance calculator. Yeah, THS is the trim, so it's 0 anyway. But I just wanted to point out, I'll do it when we've got the engines up and running and we've got hydraulics, and then we'll be able to look at the trim. So we've done pretty much everything. So we're now getting ready really for pushback. So overhead, we're going to go and put the flight recorder on. Going to go and put the no smoking to auto, and the seatbelt signs to up. Then the strobe lights can go to auto. Nav and logo can go to 1. ATS switches can go up, so can the pitch trim and the yaw damper. Now, I'm just going to try something. I'm not sure if this is electrical or hydraulic. Yeah, we can do it. It's electrical. So we want to get the trim to 0, remember. So we're going to use our trim on our primary flight controls. I've got it mapped to the hat switch on the joystick. So we're going to set the trim to what it said on the takeoff calculator. So that will stop the aeroplane ballooning around on the runway. It means it will be in equilibrium at the point it gets to rotate speed. Okay, what's next? So overhead, the window heaters need to go on. So window heaters are here, and then the probe heats as well. The FGCP, which is here, flight guidance control panel, or computer panel, sorry. Decision height goes on, and set it to -5. Why didn't it light up then? Set the heading selector to the runway direction. So, looking at the airfield we're taking off from, we're taking off runway 36, and the actual direction is 2 degrees. So we're going to go and move this round to 2 degrees. This is just a backup. Okay, and we can put heading select on. We've also got a fully programmed route, so we can put nav mode on at the same time, and it will drop heading select when it picks up nav from the GPS. Do the same trick with the takeoff, so we can say we want say 2,000 feet a minute, and we can put our target altitude in. So have we got any constraints? They're just above constraints, look. So there's no initial climbs as such, although clearance may give us that. So let's go and get our clearance now. This is a good point to do it. So we're going to switch to the clearance frequency. Now, where is it? Is it going to be tower giving us clearance by the look of it? Mariscal Tower, Virtual 073 with you, looking for clearance to... hang on a second. I need. This is one of the things. If you're going to do radio communications, you really need to be sure what you're talking about.
Just a second.
Are they going to do it? They've got SimBrief integration. This will show how lax you could possibly be. Now, obviously, you can turn it up in SayIntentions. You can say, I want it to be strict, and they're not going to be forgiving. They're going to be reading SimBrief. Let's see. I haven't told them where I'm going to at all.
Virtual 73, Quito Tower, information Papa is current. Cleared to Eldorado via the Arno 3 Alpha departure, then as filed. Departure runway 36. Initial climb to 11, 1000. Departure on 121.2, squawk 3445.
So that was a fortunate thing. That exposed how the system works to us.
Charlie Lima request IFR clearance to Sierra Echo Charlie Uniform.
1 second while I grab the paperwork.
Information Papa is current. Cleared to Eldorado via the Arno 3 Alpha departure, then as filed. Departure runway 36. Initial climb 11,000 feet. Departure on 121.2, squawk 3445. Virtual 073. So then they'll come back to and read back is correct, but that's super interesting. So it almost doesn't...
073, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.9 when ready.
So we'll stay on radio check for the moment. We've got no interest in hearing anything while we're messing around in the aeroplane. So let's go and get some of that done immediately before we forget. So to get the transponder code in, we go to tuning in here, and we're going to put the number into here. So it was 3445. So yeah, that's fascinating that we didn't tell it anything and the SimBrief integration jumped in and helped us. So it just shows SayIntention has kind of an on-ramp. I've got it set on quite a low level, so it will let me get away with murder. If you turn it up, it's going to be far less forgiving and it will want correct phraseology from air traffic services before they'll entertain you. I think that's a fantastic way for it to work. Okay. So having done that, the important thing to us is we've got 11,000 feet on the initial climb. So let's go press shift space and we'll go and set our altitude selector to 11,000. So that's only 3,000 feet over the floor. So that's showing up here as the target. And you can see we got vertical speed mode selected at the moment. Can we have vertical speed and profile mode? Yes. VS and profile climb. Interesting. Okay, we're also going to go and set the speed for the climb out, so we'll set that to 200 knots. We're quite high, remember, so it's tempting to go a bit faster, but 200's a little bit underneath the flap limit. So if you look here, we'll be taking off with flaps 15, and that's only 215 knots limit. So let's go 205, which gives us a 10 knot margin before we need the flaps up. Just reading down through my notes to see what I've covered. We've done the FGCP. So primary flight instruments. We're going to go and press comma to calibrate the altimeter. So that's showing us at 7,800 feet where we are at the moment. But I think the airport's on a bit of a hill. So our taxi out may change that markedly. We're going to uncage the backup attitude indicator. APU should be running, and we can double check if the APU is running by coming down and pressing the ECAM button for it, which is here, and it will show up over here and you can see it's generating. So at that point you can go and turn the external power off. So external power is up here, and then we can come over to the tablet to go to ground equipment and remove the GPU away from the aeroplane. So field elevation as well, we haven't done that, have we? So that's the landing field elevation. You can do this while you're en route, but it's really to do with programming the atmospheric control, or sorry, the environment control system. So an easy way of finding it out, if we double click on Eldorado in here, we've got 8,300 feet basically, so this is going to have to be turned up quite a lot. But you can see why it's important with these high altitude airfields. Otherwise the aeroplane could do some pretty horrific things to the passengers. Okay, so Alt and 1 will show us the electric power. That's, yeah, we've already done that. So we can push back. So I'm going to press Alt and P, and I'm going to get ready over here with pushback. You can see the truck is pretending like it's going to line up. Now if you remember, we're going to be going for runway 36, so we want the tail to go to our right. So we want to go to that end of the airfield. This is one of the stock airports, by the way, in 2024. It's really great, isn't it? You see there's a logo on the hangar over there. So, okay, take the parking brake off. Are they going to go right or left? We're going to make them go right. So A300 Premium has, just reading the live stream comments, the A300 Premium has been built specifically for 2024 and it's got a lot of the new features built into it. So I haven't gone into it in any great depth, I will at some point, but there's a lot of new stuff hidden away inside the aeroplane that's to do with things, a lot of silly things as well, like the simulation of the squashy tyres and stuff like that. You know, the physics simulation is a lot better because of it. But I'm sure the write-up on their website tells you in detail what's new. So parking brake goes back on. And we're going to go and get on with getting the engines running. So overhead, the beacon light goes to on. Fuel pumps all go to on. Should we put the galley power on while we're here? APU bleed goes to on, so that's over here. So that should switch across, so you'll hear the environment control system cut off because the air is going to be redirected to the engines. And then we're going to start the engines. So we rotate the ignition system to system A. We open the valve on engine number 2. We look down and we can see N2 is increasing, so the compressed air from the APU is spinning up engine number 2. When it gets to 20%, we advance the fuel control lever down here. There it goes, it's crawling towards 20%. Right. And then engine comes to life. We'll go and show the, if we switch that off, this will show the engine data. So you're seeing all of the pressures and temperatures. So when the start goes back, there we go, it's just gone out. So we can now start engine number 1. We don't have to change ignition systems. We could alternate them to save wear and tear. Okay, so it's crawling up towards 20%, so advance fuel control for engine number 1. Go and have a look outside. You can see it spinning up. That's nearly there. So, yep, ignition is done. So ignition system can come off. Then APU bleed can come off. And the APU master switch can go to off because the power bus transfer is automatic in the Airbus. I've said that no end of times in the past. So in the cockpit we are going to go and pull out the speed brake lever. We can have a look down here. So TCAS is on standby. Let's go and put TCAS on TA only. So we're transmitting our position. With the transponder, we're also listening for other aircraft positions, but we won't actually react to them. We're not using autopilot on the ground anyway. There is a lot of people, professional pilots, will tell you don't go turning the TCAS on until you're on the runway. We're doing it a little bit out of time here. So flaps need to go to 15 degrees, which I think is the right slot. Yeah, 15. Good. And there is a flap lever around here somewhere that shows us flap positions. Yeah, there it is. So it's the slats and the flaps have gone to 15. Okay, so taxi light on. We didn't request engine start pushback, did we? I got so involved again talking to you guys and explaining things and talking about things or correcting things that were done wrong the other night. So we've gone a little bit off track, but that's fine. We can just talk to ground now. The correct procedure would have been to request engine start pushback.
Clear to Bogota on the Arno 1 Alpha departure. Initial climb is 11,000. Squawking on 1226 and expecting runway 36 for American 711.
Delta 1234, read back correct.
Kilo Ground Galapagos 8390 with information Sierra. Requesting IFR clearance to Bogota.
Clearance on request, stand by.
What are we doing here? What frequency have I put us on? We're on ground, aren't we, at the moment? Mariscal ground, virtual 073, requesting taxi to runway 036.
Virtual 073, runway 036 is not available. Taxi to runway 36 via Charlie Hotel Alpha.
He misheard me, didn't he? He thought I said 6. So, taxi to runway 36 via Alpha, okay. Taxi to runway 36 via Alpha, virtual 073. So I just need to be careful to speak clearly. Just going to double check this before we pull out. Because Alpha is the one right in front of us then, yeah. Yeah, you can see these elevation changes in the airport. The runway is probably 100 foot below us. We're on a hillside. This is an awesome airport for a free one. Now there's a view. It's incredible, isn't it? Very impressive. So our next job will be to hold short and call tower.
3 Alpha Zulu ready for engine start.
Diamond 3 Alpha Zulu, engine start approved.
Tower 3 Alpha Zulu ready to taxi. Runway 18.
Let's get a bit of a move on. Do we get undulations in the runway in 2024? Yes, they had them in 2020 as well. You can see in here, look, even the taxiways aren't
Contact
flat.
tower on 118.35.
Contact tower 118.35, virtual 073. So we'll just pull ourselves to a stop. And we'll cheat slightly with the frequency because this allows you in SayIntentions to just click it. Tower virtual 073 holding short to runway 36.
Virtual 73, Quito Tower, runway 36, wind 020 at 8, cleared for takeoff.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 36, copy the weather, virtual 073. Yeah, so just looking at the live stream comments about runway undulations, this is a surprisingly flat runway. Sometimes it's got a little bit of a bow in it, look, but yeah, sometimes you get real hills in runways. It's quite amusing sometimes. But so, okay, let's get this lined up. Not use up too much runway because we need to be fast. Remember, we're high. Okay, so landing lights go to on. And TCAS is already on TA. I said I did it out of order earlier, didn't I? So we're going to go and push the throttles forwards. I'm going to turn head tracking off so we can do this in a somewhat planned manner. So we're going to push the throttles forwards, get to the VR speed, rotate, gear up. Auto throttle should kick in automatically, but we'll keep an eye on it. So throttles to toga. Throttle management system is in toga by default. So we're just waiting for the vertical speed to come in. It's a long runway, isn't it? Yeah, you can see that there's a hill in the runway. And that thin air is making it difficult to accelerate. So we're just coming up through rotation speed now. Nice and gently. Gear up. Autopilot on. Auto throttle on, yeah, it didn't come on automatically. So it's going for 205 knots at the moment. I'm going to hold on to it for a moment just to let the throttles settle.
Virtual 073, contact departure.
Contacting departure 073. So
Scotty Bravo Zulu, please confirm QNH.
departures virtual 073, departing runway 36.
Scotty Bravo Zulu, confirm QNH.
See, I didn't say that correctly. I should have said.
073, contact departure on 121.2 for further instructions.
That's gone a bit wrong, hasn't it? And this has just changed. So, when we contact departure, what we should do is tell them what we're doing. The ARN03 Alpha, or ARN03 Alpha. Departures virtual 073, departing runway 36, doing the ARN03 Alpha departure.
Virtual 73, Quito departure, radar contact, cleared direct QM021.
And that's going to be that one. Cleared direct QM021, virtual 073, requesting higher.
Virtual 073, climb altitude 32,000.
Climbing altitude 32,000, virtual 073. That's interesting, they've given us the way you read that. Normally that would be flight level 320. What's transition altitude? Yeah, that should have been flight level 320 because it's above the transition altitude. So we've just come through 11,000 feet. We don't... This is where it gets interesting, because normally your landing lights go off at 10,000 feet, but 10,000 feet is only 2,000 feet above the floor here. So we're going to do a level change together. Notice how shallow this is doing it. So there's the airport though. When it gets to target speed, which is just coming up, it will lift the nose. We could prioritise that. It's on us to do it. I'm playing a bit of a gambling game here with the hills. Could, because we're in level change mode, we could just drop this speed back, which will lift the nose to achieve it. But whatever you do, I mean, look at the climb rate. We're climbing at 2,500 feet a minute anyway. It's just whatever you do around here, you're going to have to follow these procedures. Look at that, the airplane didn't turn in time. That's a fault of the airplane, really. It's interesting scenery though, isn't it? So there's the airfield. So we've gone snaking out through the lowlands on purpose, look, to come out this way. So yeah, obviously you have to know the aeroplane, and we knew profile mode is probably going to be far too... it wasn't going to climb quickly enough for us, so I took it out of profile, put it into level change and dropped the speed back. We could go back to profile mode now. Look at it dropping the nose. So the thrust management system can go to climb mode now. We could, if we wanted to, we can just put it on auto. We don't have to use the various modes. So seatbelts are still on at the moment. We don't need the ground spoilers armed anymore.
Virtual 073, contact Guayaquil Center on 123.9er.
Contacting Guayaquil Center 123.9er, virtual 073. Guayaquil Center, virtual 073, with you, flight plan as filed. So you've got a mixture of things you can tell them. You can tell them your altitude, you can tell them your destination
Guayaquil
as well.
Center, good afternoon. Identified, Quito QNH 1020.
So that's just informational, we don't have to respond. But yeah, when you introduce yourself to a controller, really you should tell them what your current situation is and what your intentions are. So you would tell them, what altitude you are, so we could say, 17,000, or just climbing to flight level 320 en route as filed to wherever. You don't necessarily need to tell them where you're going, just that what your immediate intentions are. So we are climbing to flight level 320. Okay, so this all gets a bit more gentle now. We've gone through the transition altitude now, so this can go back to 2992. And so can this one. and so can that one. So that just ensures that all of the aircraft at altitude agree with each other in terms of how high they are, so you don't get any accidents. So we're going to change the decision height now back to our airfield that we're going to. So if we go and have a look at the charts for approach. So decision altitude is 8,720 feet for Cat B, Cat C or Cat D, so 8,700 feet as far as we're concerned. But this, I wonder if that's decision height above the ground, because there's no way we're going to put 8,000 feet in there. So it's going to be more like 360 feet. So maybe this has got a radio altimeter. So let's go and have a look.
Sri Lankan 1123, say requested altitude.
That's fine. So should we let the passengers get up now? So seat belts can go to off. We could put the head tracking on there and have a look around outside. Yeah, it hasn't got the best scenery around here. It depends on, you know, what data is available and that they've managed to purchase. So sometimes the scenery can be spotty, these areas of the world. So yeah, this hill over here, look, is quite lacking compared to over here. I imagine it's a bit of a patchwork quilt of where they have data and where they don't. I apologise to the co-pilot for climbing all over. Okay, how are we doing with configuration of lights and things like that? So that's all good. Yep, that's fine. I'm just being paranoid now. So we can have a look down on the MCDU. So we've got the time in the cockpit somewhere. Did we actually get a clock? Yeah, we've got GMT and we've got, can we switch that to UTC? Because I'm pretty sure this is going to be showing 2038. We're about to come through Bocan at 2038. Okay, so that matches. So it is showing GMT, yeah. So that's UTC, of course, yeah. It's just in more modern planes you tend to see it as UTC. So we've got the ETA along the way. So we can see when we're looking at the altitudes here. We may get told to climb higher, of course. This hasn't got the appropriate cruise altitude programmed in, has it? Let's go and see where we can do that and change it. Cruise flight level. Now we've been told to go to 320. Which agrees with that.
73 Guayaquil Center, contact Bogota Center on 125.1.
Sounded like a robot, didn't he? Contacting Bogota Center, 125.1, virtual 073. Good day. So let's be a bit more correct about this time. So we are en route to Eldorado. We are climbing to flight level 320, so that's what we're going to tell them. Bogota Center, virtual 073 with you, climbing to flight level 320 en route to Eldorado as filed. So we've given them everything to know, to see if it complies with what they've got.
Virtual 73, Bogota Center identified. Good afternoon.
So, regardless of if SayIntentions is doing it or taking any notice of that, that's what we should be doing. These old, I agree with the sentiments in the live stream chat, by the way. These older airliners are great fun, aren't they? There's something more fun about them than the modern ones. Should we see if it's got any toys in here that we haven't looked at yet? So it's obviously got Navigraph integration. It's got an en route map. Does it work? Oh, it does. It doesn't show the route on it though. Presumably the Navigraph one will. So I need to open this in a browser to get it to approve it. So then if I minimize that, we've now got a Navigraph, but it's only doing the charts, which makes sense. So we can go to SKBO and we can show the arrivals. So which one was it? Go and have another look. It was RNAV-W, the GIR4W. Oh, that's the arrivals. I'm beginning to approach. Arrivals. Oh, hang on. So, am I going completely blind here? To be. Is it gonna? It's that one. There we go. There's Girardo is the VOR. We can zoom out on this, by the way, so we can leave that on the screen. So when we get a bit closer, we'll have something to look at. How are we looking for altitude, by the way? We're 26,000 feet. Look, we're not climbing very way. It did that to me the other day, didn't it? I'm not sure if it's the mouse or the aeroplane that causes that. So, yeah, what it's doing is struggling to hold this speed. So, if we do flight level change, we can drop the speed back and allow it to climb, but not go, yeah, so look at the climb rate. So it's transferring the airspeed into altitude. So we'll have half an attempt at getting to 320.
On 119.1.
So we're prioritising getting to the altitude rather than maintaining cruise speed. But notice as we get higher, this is indicated airspeed, remember. Can we switch this over to Mach? Because that would be a bit better. Yeah, there we go. Mach 0.73 will do. Mach is a much more reliable speed measurement than indicated airspeed once you get to altitude. Most aeroplanes, when you get to about 25,000 feet, they switch automatically over to Mach. This may have done it. I kind of jumped the gun maybe. So we got true air temperature in the icing range, so we're going to go and turn on the anti-ice measures. We had that the other day with it, didn't we? I don't know whether it just tells you that based on nothing other than the temperature rather than measuring the dew point, you know, from the METAR information. Because as far as I was aware, once you get above about 25,000 feet, you're not going to get ice form. But I may be wrong on that. So as our top of descent is about 200 miles out, so we've got time to relax for a bit. And yeah, based on there being no clouds around us, I'm going to turn the icing back off. I don't think you really need to worry about icing range. I think that's just it's quite a simple system, and it's just measuring the temperature rather than the atmospheric conditions around the aeroplane. But that's something to look up in the pilot operating handbook, obviously, if such a thing is available for this aeroplane in the sim. So how is the system doing? 23 degrees throughout the cockpit, which is pretty good. Cabin altitude is climbed to 5,500 feet. We're at cruise altitude, so we can, this should have gone, yeah, it's gone to cruise because it's an auto. It switched over to cruise. And we're picking, so we should be able to pick some speed back up now. So we'll ask for 0.82. She's probably pushing it a bit, but it should be fine. No, it is too fast, look. Let's go for Mach 0.79. Just give ourselves a bit of leeway, so that's probably not enough actually. You want about 15 knots away from the limit in case the atmospheric conditions change suddenly. So yes, somebody's mentioned about this. This is a really good point. These three-way, I don't think it's simulated to do anything to the aeroplane, but these three-way, or maybe it is.
Descent altitude 10,800 feet, cylinder 112.
These three-way switches.
1123, contact Guayaquil Center on 9er.
With the gear up the whole time, and I've actually got it on the checklist. I've got it on the checklist to send to this. I just stopped reading the list. In the real aircraft, you're basically taking the pressure off of the hydraulics on the gear when you put it in the middle. So I guess it saves the seals and everything. But I wonder if this has got anything about consumables built into it. I don't think it has, but let's go and have a look. So settings. Realistic fueling, yes or no. Link the instruments, so you can either have them synchronized or not. That's rather interesting actually. IRS align can be instant. Rudder controls tiller, yes or no. You can overheat the brakes then. So maintenance mode. You do not wish to engage in servicing and maintenance. You will have a new plane forever. Realistic. Wear and tear on the relevant maintenance options will be over a longer period of time to reflect usage in the real world. Fueling is real time. So if we were to turn that on, does that mean we're going to start to get failures? Or be interesting, wouldn't it, to go and... It's set to realistic at the moment, so it is doing it. But then how do we see the levels of things? Or the condition? Aircraft maintenance, that'll be it, won't it? It's pretty obvious, really. So hydraulic systems are almost perfect. Oil is 98%. So obviously I've only flown it twice. Once last night and again tonight. So it's got literally about 4 hours in the air so far. So while you're on the ground, look, you can service various things. So maintenance panels. Okay, this is 2024 features, I think, with being able to remove the panels around the aeroplane and go and have a look at them. So you can do the walk around and take the panels off and actually see the guts of the aeroplane. It's an amazing simulator, isn't it? I know there's got a lot of critics, but I haven't had anything like the problems some people have had with 2024. But then I'm probably more forgiving than most. Maybe because I work as a software developer, I know how tough these things are, and I know how amazing an achievement this simulator is. It is something else. We can even do things like put the sunshades on, and they work, look. Do we have any other shades around that we can pull up or play around with? I think I'm right in saying that you can, even when you're on the ground, you can wind the windows back or pull them back. You know, it's all animated. Have we got a binnacle? Yes, we have. Oh, amazing! Look at that. That's fantastic, isn't it?
Bogota Center, I am flying in the United States, leaving Cincinnati. Not sure why my radio is being connected to Bogota. Stingray 9er Alpha Zulu.
I love that.
Stingray 9er Alpha Zulu, pass your message. Stingray 9er Alpha Zulu, mode C.
That's funny.
Stingray 9er Alpha Zulu is rerouting the destination to SESM.
So that gives you the condition of the undercarriage as well then. That's interesting. I guess it's the brakes, isn't it? It's really telling you. But also the tyres by the look of it. So it'll be interesting to have that on the screen as we go screaming down the runway with the brakes on fire. Okay, I'm going to turn the head tracking off for a bit. I've got about 160 miles before top of descent until there's the beginning of that arcing path in. It's a good one, isn't it? We're going to loop round and then loop back round again, almost like an S, a backwards S. Obviously, part of that, if we go and look on the map, get rid of all of this junk out of the way. Part of the reasoning for that, so we are flying along here. Look at the mountains. So we're flying up one side of the ridge, then dropping in, flying down the other side of the ridge, and then into this hollow between the two mountain ranges, and circling round in, and it's quite a tight turn, look. This is going to be a fascinating one. So we're coming in over the city low. So it says, yeah, 9,700 feet, but the airfield elevation is 8,300. So that's 1,300 feet off the ground. Oh, sorry, 1,500 feet off the ground. So we're turning over the city only 1,500 feet off the ground. That's going to be fun. Never even occurred to me to do any flights out here before, so yeah. We'll see how unintentionally exciting it is when we get there. Right, I'm going to go make a quick coffee. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Bogota Center, United 219 at 370.
United 219er, Bogota Center, identified. Buenas noches.
So I'm just looking at the sectors.
Heavy at flight level 400. Iberia 137, Bogota Center, identified. Good afternoon.
And I was just coming in here as well to go and have acquaint ourselves with what this looks like on descending. So there are a number of altitudes. So 17,000 feet, above 210 knots, max 270 knots at Jerba. So we need to slow down a bit when we get there. So 17,000 feet all the way around, and then we start descending for 13,000 feet. But by then we're doing the approach instead of the arrival. So you've got 13,700, and you've got some pretty serious speed restrictions. Look, 180 knots. But that's getting ready for this low altitude turn over the city, which is going to be, it's reminiscent of the expressway. Obviously the expressway, you come in from over here relative to, to where the airport is in LaGuardia. But it's that same low altitude turning descent for the runway. That's an interesting one. Very cool. So, Northwood Central Dave is asking, how do I get the chart to stay overlaid? So, when you've got your pinned charts along the bottom, if you click on the chart itself, so let's do it over here, look. If we click on the chart, it just shows you it. If you click on the little icon with the 2 pages, it superimposes it underneath the route on the map. And you can actually choose how see-through it is over here, look. So we can make it transparent if we want to. It's worth pointing out as well, all of this can work in night mode if you want it to, and it reverses everything. It's up to you. I like seeing it like a piece of paper. So yeah, if you just use the little icons with the pages on, that puts the pages onto the map, but they're at the same scale as the map, so it lines it all up for you. Okay, so we need to keep an eye on this. We're getting near to top of descent. So our first target for descent is 17,000 feet. I would imagine, seeing as we've got a cleared flight plan, that ATC will get involved at some point and tell us to begin descent, but we'll see. Quite commonly on some of the European
Virtual
flights.
73, Bogota Center. Expect the Tolly 4 Echo arrival. Plan for descent in maybe 20 minutes.
That's interesting. So Tolly 4E, is that what we've got on here?
Ziggy Air N123, Romeo Juliet Bogota Center. Clear to Quito via the CLO 1B departure, then as filed. Climb and maintain 7,000. Departure 119.1.
No, I've not got Tolly 4. I've got Gear 4W, 4 Whiskey.
Clear to Quito via the CLO 1B departure, then as filed, climb and maintain 7,000. Departure 119.1.
So, Tolly 4E, what does that look like?
Bogota Center, the year November 123, Romeo Juliet, with you at flight level 240.
Bogota Center, Virtual 073. Can we confirm definitely that it's the Tolly 4 Echo arrival, not Gear 4 Whiskey?
Virtual 073, Bogota Center. Expect the Tolly 4 Echo arrival. Plan for descent in maybe 20 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to have to reprogram. Ah, great. So let's go and look at this. This is probably the easier place to do it. Show, and of course little nav map's not going to play ball name. Show arrivals. Tolly for Echo for 14. They've switched runways. Oh, so we don't get the looping turn over the city. Bogota Center, Virtual 073. Which runway should we be targeting at Eldorado?
Virtual 073, runway 14 right is assigned for your arrival at Eldorado.
Did his voice just break? That was funny. So 14 right. So insert that into 14 right. It's changed the course. Oh yeah, look, this is going to mess us right up. We need to go to Tolim. So let's go and get this into the aeroplane pretty quick. So flight plan, we need to go and find that. This and go to start and go ILS 14 right. Can we do ILS Z? That'll give us a bit further. And what was the Tolly for Echo? Insert. So we're going to do direct to Tolim. So about the time we get to Tolim, we'll also have top of descent. It's changed our route completely, hasn't it? Oh, it's a shame. I was looking forward to that low-level approach over the city. So the wind obviously changed while we were en route. And this is why it pays to be able to program the airplanes, by the way. So we need to go and have a look and see what that means. So Tolly.
Archer 86 November, climb and maintain 8,500.
And this should go remove. Select. ILS Z14 right, wasn't it? So it makes it a lot simpler actually. Gear is no longer in the flight plan. And we obviously came to about there. So if we were to go add to route after SRO, that would give you sort of what we've actually done. And we can do the same on Little Nav Map. So we need to go and we've done Tolly. So yeah, we've just got this extra bit of flight plan here which doesn't belong to anything. In fact, we can't in Little Nav Map, it's not clever enough to do it. Because that's part of the procedure. Oh no, it's the current leg, isn't it? So if we go in here and we were to put in, say, add position, there we go. So that's kind of what's happened. So I'm doing it in both systems at the same time to illustrate it. It's making my workload harder. So let's go and have a look at that then. So 17,000 feet still coming in. So it's joining the same route in. It's just coming into the different end of the airport. So above flight level 190 at Tolim. So did the controller give us any altitude constraints yet? No, but we can put constraints on the display and it will show us the flight levels. So flight level 190, so we'll start descending. So if we go for 20,000 feet to begin with, and we'll do a level change to get that. And were there any speed restrictions on the way in? So 270 knots. So we'll bring ourselves down immediately to that. We've got lots of time. Time is our friend at the moment. Yeah, because it's trying to get to 270 knots, look. So let's go and throw the spoilers out to help it do that. God, they make a good noise. So the trolley's just gone whizzing down the middle of the passenger cabin. So should we go and put the seatbelt signs on? And we want to find out what the transition altitude is. 190. And we also will want to find out the weather for the destination airfield. So if we open up Eldorado information.
Stingray, 9er Alpha Zulu, say again.
1023 or 3021 inches. But we've got 10,000 feet to go until we need to do that.
Center on 123.7.
Should we tell control what we're doing? Bogota Center, virtual 073, descending to flight level 200. Now there's a view you don't see every day. That is a view and a half, isn't it? I bet with the head tracking it looks something else. And this is why we've got these very prescribed routes in, to avoid slamming into a mountainside. So I wonder what that mountain is on the left there then. Is it obvious on the map? There it is. Nevado del Tolima. It's pretty impressive, isn't it? What's that? 5 kilometers tall, blimey. Wouldn't it be good if the co-pilot actually showed emotion? We could see if they were scared, maybe. Okay, we're down to 24,000 feet. Next target, so let's descend 19,000. That should put the target here, and it has done. Yeah, so I wonder what the rules are. I'd have to look this up, unless someone else can look it up or knows already on the live stream. In sort of general commercial aviation around the world, landing lights go on below 10,000 feet above sea level. But at high altitudes, is there a different rule for that? Because that would mean only switching the landing lights on a couple of thousand feet above the ground. Up in, you know, the top of Colombia and Ecuador, and Chile as well. It would be the same, wouldn't it? So we're aiming for above 190 at this waypoint, and then 17,000 feet at the next one. So if we go for, we want exactly 17,000 feet at the next one. So we're going to target 17,000 now. You can see we're going to get there. If we take the spoilers off, yeah, I've already taken it off. Okay. But we've got max 250 knots. So we need to bleed a bit more speed off. So let's start doing it now. Now the aeroplane's going to lift its nose to do that, so you'll see, yeah, the green banana look is shooting out ahead of us. So we can combat that with spoilers. So if you look outside, you'll see I've just got the spoilers cracked open enough to get us to 250 knots and the destination at the right kind of rate. So we're coming in along here. That's our little aeroplane. Okay, while we're doing this, let's get ahead of the game a little bit. We're doing ILS now. We weren't planning on doing ILS previously. I'm going to come back and do that when, you know, one day. We need to go and look at the ILS chart and get ILS programmed in. So 110.7, 135 degrees. That's that done. Coming down 17,000 feet, so we need to go and switch the barometric pressure over. So it's 18,000 feet was the transition altitude, so 3021. And look how much that's affecting the altitude. And that is why you have a transition altitude and a transition level. For that exact reason. So we're at 17,000 feet now. So aeroplane's gone into altitude hold, which is correct, and we're going to hold it all the way around until we come in and descend for 13,000 at Amves. So, bearing in mind we're only a few thousand feet off the floor now, I'm going to go and turn the landing lights on so people can see us coming. So...
Right, heading 145, descent 11,000 feet, Avianca 544.
In the live stream, I'm being asked, can you program a hard altitude speed fix in the FMC? You can program constraints.
Right,
I'm not sure.
155, descent 11,000 feet, Avianca 544.
I'm not sure if the profile mode in this aeroplane will respect the targets.
Virtual 073, descend via Tally 4 Echo into Eldorado.
Descending via the Tally 4 Echo into Eldorado, Virtual 073. That's exactly what we're doing. To be honest, I like it when flights change, because it gives you something to do. And suddenly all of that effort to learn how to program MCDUs and things comes into play, because you can change the aeroplane on the fly to do whatever you want it to do, and all the knowledge about knowing the different modes on the FGCP comes into play because you know how to operate it. So all of the hours of messing around and things going wrong, they pay off in the end, because when things are when changes are thrown at you, you know how to do things, and you've learnt the hard way in a simulator, which is, I think, where all the fun of a simulator really is. So just reading the conversation there about when frequencies or whatever don't match up in the sim. If you're not using Navigraph, that can be the culprit sometimes, because if you've not got an up-to-date AIRAC database, both in the simulator or the aeroplane or your navigation software, things might not agree with each other. That's the huge advantage of Navigraph, is it updates the simulator database, it updates the aircraft database in many cases, and it updates the mapping solution database. So both the Navigraph tool and little nav map, they are both updated by Navigraph, so therefore they all agree, and all of the frequencies that are in the simulator are coming from that database. So radio frequencies, ILS frequencies, fixes, VORs, the lot. So when you think, oh, why haven't I got this airport having this frequency or whatever it is, quite often it will be because the AIRAC is missing it for whatever reason. Or the scenery itself, because it's a combination of factors. The scenery itself could be implementing frequencies, and it could be that the scenery itself is broken in some way, or interfering badly with the simulator in some way. So we got a bit of a crosswind going on, haven't we? You see the aeroplane swaying. Can we get a wind readout? Yeah, it's down here, look. Oh my word. Oh no, it's not too bad, it's only a few knots. 106 degrees. It's about 10 knots, but it's changing, look. It's blustering all over the place. But yeah, so just reading the live stream comments there, if you don't have Navigraph, that will be the culprit most of the time between things not adding up. Because that is the major thing that a basic Navigraph subscription will fix for you. I think the premium, I forget what the name is they call it. The premium gives you obviously the plates, the Jeppesen charts for everything. But again, Jeppesen only do the charts for the big airports. They don't do them for municipals, which is really frustrating sometimes. That's why there's a lot of small airfields in the UK, so when I'm doing GA flying in the UK, I've actually got a Pooley's book behind me on the shelf, a ring-bound book, which is the real-world one. But obviously the simulator has put all the airfields in the right places, so that becomes a goldmine of information, that book. It's going to be worth keeping an eye on what SayIntentions are doing over the next few months, because they've got a lot of products coming down the pipe, some of which are completely free for the whole community, which some of them are going to be game changing as well. So it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens with that. I can't tell you too much about them at the moment, I'm afraid. Okay, so we're turning. Slowly making our way around the arc. So remember, we get to 17,000 feet at NOR 05, if we go and have a look on the chart, at the approach chart. So we're coming around to NOR 05, and then we're going to aim for 13,000 feet at Amves even, and then we're on to the approach. And then we've obviously got the ILS plugged in already, so when we make the turn at Amves, this hasn't got a scale on it, has it? It's a bit of a problem sometimes. You can see it here though. There's the Bogota VOR. It's interesting, they haven't put a mileage on that one, have they? But CF14 right is 8 miles out. So it's giving you both distances, look, so back to the VOR across the top and onwards towards the airfield. It's almost information overload, isn't it? We're just coming around the top. So we can start to drop our speed between 250 to 200 knots. So let's do that. While we're level, we'll just drop it down to 220. Because it's max 250, look. Or at 204. Oh, actually no, it's turbo, look. Jet or turbo. Okay, we need to stay 250. Apologies. That's for turboprops. Can it pick up speed? Giving the engine something to do for a couple of seconds. And they're winding back down again. Okay. So obviously we don't need to be looking at the map, we can look down here. Or we could bring the approach chart up on here in a moment. Can we pin these? So that was that one, wasn't it? Chart pinned. So what does that actually mean? Oh, okay, there's a pinned shortlist here. So then approaches, we can look at 14 right ILS-Z, wasn't it? Is the one we want. So if we go to pinned now, you can just see the ones we pinned, which is useful. So airplane's cutting the corner. For a change, it's doing it right. So let's aim for 13,000 feet. And 230 knots. Let's check the spoilers out. Oh no, it wants us 250, sorry. I'm not looking at the instructions. So 250 at... It's very, very specific, isn't it? Oh, great. This is just what we need, isn't it?
Virtual 073, descend altitude 13,000, QNH 1012.
Descending 13,000 feet, virtual 073.
Virtual 073, contact Bogota, approach on 119.65.
Contacting Bogota, approach 119.65, virtual 073, good day. Bogota approach, virtual 073 with you, descending to 13,000 feet on approach, runway 14 right. I should have said 14.
Virtual 73, Bogota approach identified. Good afternoon, Eldorado QNH 1012. Expect the visual X runway 14 right approach into Eldorado.
Expecting visual runway 14 right approach, Eldorado, virtual 073. They're doing the X. It doesn't make much difference. So it's doing X instead of Z. Because as soon as we make the turn, we'll probably be able to pick up the ILS. But this is nice, isn't it? Considering we know it's death-defying scenery around here in all directions, and we can't see any of it. This is where you get these air accidents happen, isn't it? I shouldn't laugh, really. We haven't got terrain view either, have we? Because this is like or do we?
Virtual 073, descend altitude 9,000, turn left heading 075 vectors for the visual runway 14 right approach.
Descend 9,000, turn left heading 075, virtual 073. Hang on, what's he saying? Turn left 075. No, that's garbage. Oh yes, he's right, sorry. What's it doing? That isn't a left turn. I'm following the instructions. What is the aeroplane doing to us? Heading select 75, and it's going the opposite way around the compass. I think the aeroplane's broken. This is how you get put into a mountainside, isn't it? I don't believe them. A think this may have got its vectors wrong, you know. I'm going to ignore their instruction and turn us... Yeah, it's not even doing heading select now, look. Which would be the better way to turn? Neither. Autopilot off.
ProFlight 455, heavy speed 230 knots.
Unable, I'm not that drunk.
Bogota approach, virtual 073, making direct in, runway 14 right on the ILS.
Virtual 073, negative, you are cleared for the visual approach to runway 14 right. Turn left heading 145 vectors for the visual runway 14 right approach.
Turning left 145 vectors for the 14 right approach, 073. Which is what we're doing now. It got its maths wrong, didn't it? So we're dropping to 9,000 feet. And the terrain's now lighting up the ground around us like a Christmas tree. So I'm going to somewhat ignore his instruction and put us on the right vectors for the ILS. So there's our 9,000 feet. Now what he's told us will put us into that mountainside. Yeah? Unless he wants us to stay, actually, yeah, he told us 145, didn't he? Which would take us just short of it. But we would still have hit that ridge. Is he going to give us a left vector all of a sudden? So I'm going to do one. So the ATC instruction would have killed us. Okay, so there's the localizer, should start to appear sometime soon. Glide slope is just out of view. Haven't we got wonderful weather? Could we change the ILS to the right one? 110.7. Yes, we did. 135 degrees. That's correct.
Virtual 073, contact Eldorado Tower on 118.1.
Contacting Eldorado Tower 118.1, virtual 073. Eldorado Tower, virtual 073 with you on approach, runway 14 right. Yeah, here comes the glide slope.
Virtual 73, Eldorado Tower, winds 165 at 8, runway 14 right, clear to land.
Runway 14 right, clear to land, virtual 073. Let's turn the terrain off, it's no use to us. It's just cluttering the display up. We know if we follow the glide slope we'll be fine. Landing lights are on. Could have done with that all that cloud really, couldn't we? We're okay though.
Virtual 073, welcome to Eldorado. Contact ground on 121.8.
Contacting ground 121.8, virtual 073. So we go over this line, hold at the next one, and then contact ground. Whew, and exhale. Yeah, the guidance wasn't everything it should have been, was it? On the way in. Eldorado ground, virtual 073, departing runway 14 right, requesting taxi to the gate.
073, taxi to gate 74 via Kilo 4, Kilo Papa Foxtrot. Have a great day.
Taxi gate 74 via Kilo 4, Kilo Papa Foxtrot. Good day. So let's see if we can find it. Kilo 4, which is where we are. Kilo Papa Foxtrot. It's down in here somewhere. So if we go, this is where Navigraph really comes into its own. You can do this in Little Nav Map as well, actually. If we go back to flights and go for charts for this airport, and we want the taxi charts, and we want there's the one we've got, stands, that's the one we want. 74 is just inside that area. Yeah, Terminal T1, so it's just in here. So let's go out to hotel. I put too much throttle on. We've got taxi lights on. Just looking at that comment there saying how composed I was, I just shut up, I start talking. I only make mistakes when I talk. So if I am having to multitask in terms of like talking about what I'm doing and explaining things, then I get sidetracked. If I just focus on what I'm doing, I'm okay.
Eldorado Tower, Juliet Bravo. I have the departure frequency.
And it's a combination of lots of things.
Eldorado Tower, contact departure.
So knowing how the instrumentation works, so what I was seeing on the navigation and the primary flight displays, I flew by those. Obviously we were blind most of the way until we were on finals, we couldn't see anything, but it didn't really matter. Okay, so we're going over here somewhere, just inside this U-shape, this horseshoe shape of buildings. What number was it again? They told us, didn't they? 74. Whoa, what's going on? I have got no steering. Oh, I've done the brakes in. So, can we stop the airplane at all? No, we can't. Can we repair them? No, actually no, the sim's gone wrong. I can't move the view. Oh well, at least we got here before it went wrong, hey? I honestly can't move the view. What's going on with that? Shift space isn't working. Alt 7 works, so I can do that. So I'm working now with all of the facilities available to me. Oh, the brakes have just come back on. Sorry, Mr. Glider, we're about to wipe you out. So I lost nose wheel steering there. I think the sim went wrong, to be honest. I had no control of the views or the flight controls, basically. The sim kind of got stuck for a moment. Well, I thought it was to me, yeah, the brake fans are on. So, which one was 7-4? Just inside the entrance on the right. Are they numbered? I think it's this one, where the Orion is. great. Oh, we're just going to park out on the stand. Park behind him in a menacing manner. You'll find that's our parking space. Oh, I think you're right. I was just reading the comments on the live stream. Yep. Some of the EFBs can lock things out, can't they? Some of the EFB pages. I think you're right. Although it was on the menu page, it wasn't on... I don't know.
8377, roger.
I think it was just a bug somewhere where I managed to go down a rabbit hole in the sim that broke it momentarily.
We are still looking for the trap.
We have the traffic.
Eldorado ground, virtual 073, requesting shutdown.
Virtual 073, shutdown approved. Have a great day.
Okay, so we can just run around the aeroplane. Oh, the internal views built into it are terrible. Let's go and turn things off. What else do we need to do? Lights. Strobe should do, oh, strobe's on auto. It'd be interesting to see how strobe works when it's on auto, if there's anything documented anywhere. I don't think I meddled with anything else. Yeah, this zeroes itself out as soon as you have weight on wheels, I think. So obviously once you've got everything done, you can go and turn the external power off, and then batteries off, and it all goes dark. And then we can go in here, and if you really want to, we can power off the AFB as well. Should we go and have a wander on the aeroplane? I never do this. I ought to. Because it's in here and it's wonderfully modelled. I wonder if it's got a working coffee machine. I think I turned the power off to the galley, didn't I? I think it does work if you leave the power onto the galley. What's going on there? The closer we get, the further away those seats are getting. Second episode of Doctor Who. It's great though, isn't it? All the different stations and the different areas down the aeroplane, they're really nicely modelled. Does the toilet work? No. What about that one? Is there anything in it though if we go... Oh, we can't get through the walls. Unfortunately. I don't think there's any click spots to open them. No. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. So that was another fun flight. They always get a few unexpected things happen. ATC trying to put us into a mountainside was interesting. And again, what on earth was going on with that? When they told us to turn almost the opposite direction. Very odd. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you had fun watching that this evening. And I'll see you again soon. Take care.
Europa 194, contact department.